Et alors, today is vlog day 852. I'm obviously very, very branded today, although I just like this shirt, so try not to read into this too much when I wear it. Good morning, it is Saturday. Is it? Is it Friday? What's today? It's Friday for you, it's Thursday for me. This is the time vortex that I kind of inhabit full time. And thankfully, from yesterday, I can actually start making some wise or unwise financial decisions based off of the fact that I am full time at this. That's pretty crazy. I want to spend today focused a little bit on kind of reflecting just on how my life has changed and how dramatically it's changed, as I am grateful. If you weren't aware, yesterday we crossed a line. It's a very arbitrary line, but it's a line that I set for myself, but it's where I set on Patreon, I will be comfortable considering myself a full-time creative, full-time YouTuber, full-time whatever it is that I am now, when we cross this line, because it's going to be that line at which if I lose this amazing apartment, oh my gosh, I'm so excited about this place right now too. There's so much good stuff going on right now. If I lose this place and I have to like move out and pay rent, will I have enough coming in on a monthly basis to feel like I can do that? Given the lifestyle changes I would have to undergo in the midst of that, and we've crossed that line, which is incredible, and I'm super fortunate, and I don't even know where to begin. But I might as well begin with like a year ago when things were a little bit dramatically crazier. Oh, also, before I forget, the carpet is in. And I'm sitting here surrounded by some of my art. This is artwork from Into the Nanton that my landlady actually paid for and mounted. It had to come down while they painted. But I'm trying to figure out how to put this up. I've sketched it out. I think I have it figured out. This should all be on the wall shortly. I love this monkey. He's hilarious.
It's like being surrounded by old friends. It's weird. I didn't know if I wanted to put these back up, but now that I have them out, like, yes.
Two things that I totally I did completely forget to put in here originally, but now Pushan, first thing, sent me a file to let you know where his secret location is.
And it's pouring in Sydney. Awesome.
It's a really fun video. It's only 60 seconds long. He just released right before going to bed in Australia. You should go watch it. It's really, really fun. It's awesome. I hope he keeps making stuff like that. It's really, really cool. Okay, second thing that I totally forgot. My sister made the most amazing design for a shirt of the month. If you've been following for a while, you know that I was doing like a shirt of the month every month, and then I skipped October, November. Wanted to get it out sooner. You know what? It's still November. The shirt of the month for November is the days of the week. And I love it. It's way better than I asked her for something that she ended up making way better than I could have even imagined, and it's way better than I would have made it. Karin, thank you. You're amazing. She's the one that made the painting that's on my wall right now as well. She's just amazingly talented. Go follow her on Instagram, right meow, but obviously link below to the shirt of the month as well, if you want to get your days of the week on. Yeah, back to this. I also got the goal map up on the wall. I don't know if it's gonna stay there. I gotta figure out something. I might have to frame that. Oh, speaking of which, we can mark off Chateau from the personal goals. We're gonna have to reassess all of that here fairly soon, but okay, so a year ago, I was actually on the verge of going bankrupt. I was actually in the process of going bankrupt. Thankfully, I found a lawyer who walked me through the process from abroad. Normally, you have to actually be there in person, but I found somebody who's willing to basically take a number of things into account and be like, okay, this person is a real person and there's no fraud going on here. And thankfully, he did that for me, which was very, very nice of him. And while I might be planning certain things coming up in the future that some of you are clued into and have figured out, and others of you absolutely cannot figure out because it's a surprise, but should I even say those kinds of things? I'm gonna be doing things this year from a place of like health and excitement that last year I was doing from a place of extreme stress. So for those of you who don't know, like just over a year ago when I was doing bike tours and things like that, I was just working so hard to keep myself afloat. I was working multiple jobs, like I was doing web development still, I was doing the voice acting that I'm doing now, translation work, bicycle tours, teaching English, just whatever random job that I could pick up along the way to make ends meet, because I was buried under this mountain of debt that I had accrued from some pretty big, like, risks that I'd taken as far as like starting a tech company, doing a bunch of random stuff that I had done, and I do not regret, but I definitely found myself in dire need of help. And I just remember there are kind of a couple things that I've been wanting to say, or that I've been trying to say over the last few days, that I've been struggling to find the right words for, or the right way to say it. And I'm going to try and say those things. We'll see how they come across. One of those things was a realization that I had in the process of going bankrupt, actually. I think I've been working so hard for so long just to keep above water. If you hadn't noticed, I was sleeping on a mat on the floor here. I couldn't afford to do much. I mean, that's a whole other conversation to have, but I felt like a perpetual, like on the verge of being a failure person. I don't know how to turn that into a noun. I basically always felt like no matter how hard I was working, no matter how many advances I felt like I had made, I was only ever just ahead of completely falling apart. And as things finally completely fell apart, there was some relief there, but I definitely felt a little bit of shame and a little bit of, not even really a sense of embarrassment, but a sense of failure. Like I've been like, oh my gosh, I'm working so hard and this is where I end up. And then as that process went on and I realized, oh my gosh, I've got this protection. I'm not in a position where I'm under this crushing burden of debt anymore. And all of a sudden I had enough money to live and be okay. I realized that I'd actually been doing fairly well. Like I'd cobbled together sources of income and a way of living I was living obviously really cheaply, but I also had done enough to really survive if given like a fair opportunity to make it. And I was all of a sudden okay. And that was the first time that I felt like, wow, I'm actually successfully self-employed. I had been for a long time. I just hadn't had fair expectations of myself. I looked at it and thought, wow, like I'm not doing amazingly well. I'm not building these I was kind of comparing myself to the giants in my respective fields and thinking like, wow, I'm nothing but a failure. But I never stopped just to kind of look at my own life and recognize, oh no, I haven't had an actual employer for a long time. Like I've been freelance or a consultant or whatever for a while, and it's actually working out okay. Even after having been self-employed for years, that was the first time I actually felt like, oh, I'm actually doing this. Like, I'm okay. The second was definitely recent, and in a similar vein where I've been working multiple jobs, and it really struck me the other day when I went to what is hopefully the last day I'll ever teach English. I went out there to teach English and I had to rush back to teach my crowdfunding course. And that's not a first. Like earlier, I guess in the spring, that's what I was doing all the time. It was like I was teaching all day and then rushing back. To get here, I only had, it's a 45-minute commute and I only had an hour window to make it and no time to get food. And this is the life I regularly lived in. And not only was I teaching English, but I was also, doing whatever random side jobs, doing some translation work as well, or I don't even remember what I was doing. And all of that, then editing my vlog somehow, making a video in the midst of that, and then getting 4 or 5 hours of sleep and doing it all over again. And I just remember being in the midst of that and like just kind of having my nose to the grindstone and just forcing myself to get through each and every day. The reason it struck me was because as I went out to teach English just a couple of days ago, I was feeling just a little bit stressed because I only had about an hour window to get home. And thankfully I was able to buy some more time thanks to having taught in a middle school that kicked us out half an hour early. But feeling a little bit of that stress and being like, wow, how did I do this before? Like I'm gonna be fine, but like I remember doing this all the time and having no choice and being absolutely just jammed into my schedule. Just absolutely every last second was crammed with basically work. And I was working like the equivalent of, basically 2 or 3 full-time jobs. It's 7 days a week, nonstop working, just to barely make ends meet, just to barely survive. And I've transitioned from that into working like 1.5 jobs, maybe 2 jobs. I'm slowly paring down, but the equivalent of like 2 jobs, and then steadily moving down towards 1.5 jobs. It's crazy because as I increasingly have a little bit of free time, a little bit of space, time to sleep, I've been making sleep much more of a priority. Time to relax a little bit, time to just try and, enjoy a little bit of life. Suddenly I'm making it and I'm like my income's not going down, but the time spent working is going down and I feel lazy. Almost. It's kind of like, don't I have work to do? Like, aren't I supposed to be doing something else right now? Why? What? I find myself oftentimes sitting at my computer thinking like there has to be something else. Like, what did I miss? Why am I not typing furiously right now or editing something? Or, and that just kind of keeps going. And I still have my cram periods. Like the last few days have been pretty packed. There's a lot going on. But like today, being able to just kind of slow down, sleep in a little bit, have them put in the TV. Thank God that's finally in here. Roll out the carpet, make a little coffee, respond to comments and messages, put art on the walls. Like, I'm not rushing around. I don't have to be anywhere. today until I have dinner with my landlady later, but I don't have to be anywhere. I don't have to be doing anything. The fact that I have the time to think about making this video and have the space to just kind of ease my way into the day and make this, that's huge. Like, I'm really fortunate. It's crazy. So thank you for being a part of that. If you're one of my Patreon members, or if you have ever pitched in any way, shape, or form, even in the form of just encouragement and comments telling me how my videos, made a difference, or that I helped to share my love of Paris with you and had an impact, or whatever it is, like, those exchanges have definitely helped me survive. And now that I'm in a place where it's like I have genuinely like a literal space that's comfortable and livable, and that my mental and emotional health are getting some time and some space to like stretch and breathe. It's amazing, and this is it's a very different place. And so now that it's weird that I've been doing this for 2.5 years, basically. Like, vlogging every day is nothing new. It's a part of my daily life, but it's weird that it's like all of the work stuff is vanishing and the hobby all of a sudden is all that remains, and I'm still making an income. And that gets to be my full-time thing. That is such a privilege, and it's exactly what I always hoped would happen, but I never knew for sure if it could happen. And that's crazy. It's awesome. All kinds of adjectives. I don't even know where to go with that. All that to say, thank you so much. I'm gonna take some time in the next couple of weeks. There are things that I've been talking about doing that I just haven't done for a while, like an editorial calendar. I used to be very religious about my editorial calendar, and I've let that slip. There are a number of things I want to stop, and like I kind of alluded to this a second ago, but there's a real mental switch, a shift that's happening right now. Even though I've been vlogging for a long time, it's always been an add-on to my life, because I've had to work, I've had to survive, I've had to make enough money to get by, and the vlog has always been something that I want to do better at. I want to grow, I want to tell the best stories I can, but sometimes it just has to happen no matter what, and that's the way it gets treated. And so moving forward, like, that'll still happen, I'm sure, on certain days, but I want to start shifting that mentality and start shifting how I plan and how I think about it, and move into a new era. And it may not look or feel too different to you right off the bat, but I think that there are some real differences that are going to come down the pipeline because of this, and a lot of that just comes from giving myself the space to think, okay, this is a job. I want to prioritize it in ways I've never been able to prioritize it before. I want to think about it. I want to polish it. I want it to grow. I want to experiment with it. And I also want to like actually cordon it off into like, this is the time during the day that I'm dedicating to this. And then I have time to sleep. And then I have time to like watch a movie. And then I have time to sleep some more. And then there are definite changes that are coming down the pipeline. And I'm really, really fortunate that I get to make those. So thank you for that. Anyways, that's enough talking for today. Tune in tomorrow for more, regular vlog content, hopefully. Although I am meeting with Richard for the first time since I've been back tomorrow, so we'll see how that goes. I do have some fun plans, though, in the near future, especially as the holidays approach here in Paris. Holidays in Paris are a lovely thing, even if they're holidays the French don't celebrate next week. And yeah, I'll see you bright and early tomorrow morning for whatever it is that comes then, and hopefully in the next couple of weeks we'll be rearranged in a way that helps to make this whole thing just that much better. Also, I'll do an apartment tour very soon. As soon as this is all up, apartment tour, probably next week, hopefully next week. I'm just waiting for one thing, basically, and then we should be ready for it.